What's up, everybody? Welcome back. It's Cherry covering the GSC Invitational, and we got ourselves another Week 5 game. Shoutouts to Xtina and to Borrier for giving a hand with the uploads. Xtina covering the previous video. And we got ourselves Thor versus Violet River. Thor has been around for a while, pretty decent player. I don't really know them for other tiers. That's just the way I am. One trick pony. And we got Violet. I'm the one trick pony. Violet, who also did pretty well in GSC Rising Stars a couple years back. So this is losers. And we got ourselves Snorlax versus Cloy lead. Lax gonna go with the damage. And Cloyster gonna go with the spikes, of course. Now, the nice thing about Cloy lead is that, yeah, you can get your Toxic up, but if they go to Zapdos or lead with Zapdos, you can just switch to Raikou. Raikou can handle Zapdos just fine. And so that Cloy lead is an indication of Raikou. Raikou offense, I guess. Could be double elect, we don't really know yet. Lax going to come in, going to take 40% for his troubles, if you include the spikes, of course. And in comes T-Tar. Violet putting pressure on early with that Toxic, with the spike, with the T-Tar. And that's going to force Thor to use Rest. We don't really know what set it is. We just know that it's offense. And in comes Eggy. Interesting to come in like that, but we see a Screech, so Eggy does pretty good against physical offense. T-Tar, Sleep Powder. Screech Tar usually only runs physical moves, and Eggy can handle that just fine. The Sleep does end up being used on Raikou, though, as Lax comes in to follow suit. And that's also going to give an opportunity for Thor to lay the spikes. Cloyster, did I say Fori? I meant to say Cloyster. Cloyster, bulky enough, tanky enough to take that Rock Slide and actually survive a 2-hit KO. But, yeah, Violet River goes to her Cloyster. So I, in the last video in which I covered the set, I misgendered. All right. So moving on, we got no fun names, but we got ourselves a Golem. Gonna switch out. It's not very comfortable staying in on Eggy like that. Leech Seed. Leech Seed is pretty nice. It kind of skews the matchup into Eggy's favor as it resists Thunder, as we all see here, and it kind of brings the range of Psychic down from a 4-hit to a solid 3-hit KO. Well, unless, of course, it's a crit like we see here, then that's a 2-hit KO, and Zap definitely isn't going to kill. So that just makes Eggy even more threatening. Leech Seed showing its potential here, its promise. And Thor's going to have to make something happen and take out this Eggy because it's a problem. It's a problem. Now, especially with Zap kind of out of the way, it's not going to come in, and Thor wants it to live, of course, so... We're going to see... Are we going to see a Rest? Yeah. We haven't seen the 4th move on this Lax yet. Maybe Curse. I don't know how much it's going to help, to be honest. But it's certainly better than Earthquake. The Curse would, at the very least, make Lax more threatening. Give a little bit of edge to Thor. But right now, we're seeing why Leech Seed is so good. Not to mention that it's based off of percentage. So... Lax, being extremely tanky and bulky, HP-wise, will heal off way more HP than if the Leech Seed were to go on something else. The boom happens, and Lax goes down, so, I guess we're not going to see any more of that. But Thor is going to go to his Eggy. Are we going to see somewhat of a mirror match? No, probably not, because we don't... But there could be a Vaporeon in the back. There's no telling. The team could definitely have one. So, I'm saying a lot But the Golem is going to have a free rest here, if that is what they want to go for. And judging on how the Violet River had a Screech Tar, maybe this lacks his EQ. But we haven't seen any Sleep Talks, so it's really hard to tell. And Golem is going to take out the Vaporeon. Okay. All right, so Eggy, threatening as ever. Goes for a boom. We didn't see a Giga Drain there, so maybe they didn't have it. Violet is still completely in this game. Same for Thor. It's really hard to tell how it's going to go down, but the Zap is going to go down as well. So Jolteon. Okay, Jolteon in the back. And it's Hidden Power Water. That doesn't really make a huge difference, but Jolteon, huge threat for Violet's team. So we can tell why Thor wanted that Exeggutor gone. Lax wakes up, so Jolteon has to land a Thunder. Okay, manages to just fine. Jolteon not quite as powerful as Zapdos, but when it sets up, it is unrivaled. And we even see a sub, which might be just the ticket that Thor needs to break through the Raikou. In fact, with the Sleep Talk, Raikou is going to have a hard time getting anything meaningful. And the sub is going to heal the Jolteon, is going to allow the Jolteon to set up more. And it's already at +3 or 2.5 multiplier of special attack. So it's astronomical levels of power here. We're going to see in just a second. Luckily, Violet River is being a good sport and letting us see just the miraculous damage that is being dealt. Oh, wow, para, full para. When do you ever see that from a Raikou? Raikou usually being the fastest mon. It is among the fastest in the tier. We do see an early GG, but Jolteon is missing quite a few Thunders. I don't know. It's still going to land, though. It's eventually, right? Yeah. I mean, Thor managing to take game one. Jolteon proving to be extremely reliable and just running into the perfect team. Game two. So we got Cloy lead and Zap lead. All right. Similar to the first sequence, Violet is going to go straight to Raikou, just like we saw as soon as the Zap popped in game one. But there's a T-Bolt, okay, an exchange of lightning bolts between these two gods of thunder. As Raikou full paras, Snorlax comes in safely, giving Thor an opportunity for some good damage on the Cloyster. So far, 2 reveals each. Thor going to go straight to Starmie as Cloyster lays the spikes. Sorry, I mumbled. Starmie using Surf. Raw Surf is kind of rare. Raw Surf. And we see a Zap Cannon. Okay, Zap Cannon. 50% accurate move actually landing. That's a relic of the past. I think we might have seen that in one of the previous sets, though, now that I think about it. Raikou comes in, denying the spikes on Thor. I feel like Thor, going for that Raw Surf, missed an opportunity to spin there. Lax coming in again on an opposing Lax this time, and Violet is going to set up. Thor, on the other hand, prioritizing damage, going to bring their own Spiker, but Violet timing things perfectly, getting a lovely kiss, putting that 4A to sleep. All right, so we see a Gengar. Now that I see the team better, it might just be that Starmie was a Nightmare Starmie. Snorlax setting up, lovely kiss. Does it have EQ? It's a Raikou team. It very well could have EQ. We don't know what that last move is, but Dynamic Punch lands, and Lax hits itself in confusion twice in a row. Gengar explodes. But Thor can't follow up with Starmie. He's going to have to follow up with a Thunder. It is in range. Raikou is paralyzed. So Thor can still make progress, just not with spikes. Going to take some damage from the coup there. Violet feeling comfortable in on that Zapdos. Gets a para of her own on that Snorlax with a T-Bolt. That's only 10%. As Golem comes in, well, we're certainly not going to see Rapid Spin this turn. Earthquake, Girthquake, and we see Flamethrower. Just trying to mold that Golem to a fine, smooth surface with the heat. You know how you can like mold anything with that Flamethrower there. Lax comes in. Okay, I think that was a good turn. Yep. I believe that seeing as the Fortress was asleep, Violet knew that Lax would have been relatively safe to come in, get a little bit of lefties back. Now it's technically in range of a Thunder, so Violet's just going to go straight to Raikou. With the, with Thor being down 4, technically, to 6, this is looking pretty tough. Violet is ahead and can make things happen with this Cloyster. Gonna go for a mispredicted explosion there. Wanted to call out maybe Lax or Zapdos, but that doesn't happen. So Thor making a bit of ground himself with the Rock Slide Flinch. And the Lax is going to be forced back out again. Not out for the count. Not quite. Early GG again. That must be kind of disrespectful. Okay. Yeah, we still haven't seen if this is a Sleep Talk Lax. There's so much that can happen. It's only been turn 24. It's not like they're down 2 months to 6. It's 4v5. Golem. So we do see the Sleep Talk, but we haven't seen the other move. If Lax is staying in, I can only assume that it must be Earthquake. I mean, no, never mind. That's not true. We already saw that it was Flamethrower. My bad. So, not opting to go to Zapdos, which is kind of interesting. Is there something I'm missing here? No, this Zapdos is healthy. Thor just not electing not to go to it. Okay. And yeah, just some solid Earthquake damage. Not much to say there. Golem quite comfortable in on this Snorlax. Not caring about the set that Snorlax has. Could eventually die in the long run, but, that's... Violet could also just time a boom here. Should they want to do that. Instead, predicts the rest turn. Manages to bring Lax back to 35. Clawing its way back to a decent recovery HP. And Golem coming back in, walling. Probably going to go for a couple of Earthquake. No, go straight for a boom. I agree. I think that was a good choice. Can't keep risking that. But now the Lax is safe, so the Lax can set up. It's a curse, so it should be just fine. With the spikes down, it's going to be able to whittle down that tar as well. But yeah, at the same time, Thor just doesn't have an electric resist anymore, or an electric switch-in, rather. Never did have an electric resist. T-Bolt taking out the Fori, and it looks like the next one is going to be Starmie. Oh, so it does have Rapid Spin. Okay. All right. Rapid Spin, Flame Lax with Gengar and Tar. Tar has to be offensive. It must be Curse or something. But that's not going to match up well against Umbreon in the back either. T-Bolt, okay. And a Para, Jesus. How many freebies can you get? The T-Bolt there. That is really going to seal a deal. Thor forfeits, or he Thorfeits. Ha 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 ha. Yeah, now on to game 3. Game 3. They're both 1-1. Both players are on the board. we see imaginary avatars because, I don't know, something's wrong with the server. All right, we got Cloy on Cloy. Violet is 3 for 3 in Cloy leads. She must really like Raikou. Dodges a Toxic. And gets some surf damage. And this is kind of nice because Cloyster is so... it's quite tanky, but it's nice to keep the boom. Sometimes keeping your own Cloyster in on that kind of just makes it run out of time. So that Zapdos forces in the Raikou, whoop-de-doo, and it gets it gets parried. So it's now slower, allowing the Lax that's coming in, especially on that full para, nice and healthy, to threaten it. So in comes Golem. But this time, it's taking an Earthquake, because Thor learned his lesson from last game. And Golem is going to get that spin. Yes, it is low, but it can threaten a boom. Of course, it's going to stay in, knowing that it can recuperate a little bit. In comes the Lax. And this kind of puts Violet into a tricky situation, into a tricky position here. And it really looks like Violet is just repeating teams, recycling them over and over. Really cares about the environment. Uses Charm, and suddenly from a near 40% damage attack, it becomes not even a 20% one. So that Lax is going to move out, and we see the all-familiar Zap Cannon again. And it turns out that this thing has landed 2 out of 3 times, and it's been putting in some work. Charm, Moonlight, Zap Cannon. Damn, that's pretty interesting. Does Violet want to spin? Yes, she does. Okay. Yeah, that's a clear KO, just evens it out. Violet brings in Cloyster. Probably going to keep that for the Lax. Does not manage to get the Toxic, so Raikou forces out the Cloy. Thor doubles to Snorlax just to secure some stab damage. Yup, that's right. We saw this coming. Zapdos or Raikou? Nope. Stays in instead. Probably wants to hold on to both. We don't know what those last two could be. Could be a Machamp. Or it could be something just weak to Electric in general. We don't really know. It could be Special Offense. There is one Lax, of course, but yeah. Zapdos also dodging a Toxic, rather. And the Raikou coming in. So, while Violet does have the Spikes advantage, it's true, at the same time, that Thor has a Raikou and a Lax and a Zapdos. So, can put in a lot of work here. The Charmbrion, as we put it, actually manages to survive a self-destruct from Lax thanks to Charm, which is an incredible feat. Violet deciding to hold on to it. At the end of the day, there are no spikes. Raikou's going to rest. Steelix. Oh dear, that's not what you want to see. Moltres. Moltres going to melt something right now. Look at that damage. 50 damage. 50% unresisted. Interestingly, doesn't stay in. Goes to Coup, but Thor makes a prediction and goes to Licks. Booms. Probably not what he had hoped for. Booms on the Umbreon, and there is a Machamp, just not on the side I thought it was on. This Machamp is extremely threatening. Oh, goes for a Cross Chop, not a Rock Slide. Could have made a prediction there. Decided to aim for what's in front of it. Then goes for the Rock Slide and misses. Could have used that damage on the Cloy. That kind of sucks, but Thor calls it out. Goes to Zap. Confides in the fact that Raikou and Champ can bring this home, and he wouldn't be wrong. But I don't really know my calcs. I guess I don't need to look them up because the Machamp misses 2 Rock Slides. This is a really inaccurate game, if I do say so myself. And now it's Raikou versus Moltres. No, goes to Machamp again. Okay. Nice double, but he's going to have to dodge a Thunder just to make something happen. Are we going to see an Earthquake? No. Is it Mono? Is this Mono? I mean, no, it's not Mono. What the hell am I saying? Okay, there's the Earthquake. Doesn't get the crit that he was looking for. This Raikou. Gonna wake up, I suppose. Gets a T-Bolt. Could win the speed tie. Right, so I suppose if I'm Thor, I could either rest or just let the Raikou die, but I don't know how I would feel about that. Uh-oh. That could be a problem. Now I'm kind of forced to click T-Bolt here just to put it in range. He gets a good crit for his troubles. The Raikou goes down. Interesting team. Oh my days. This Machamp couldn't hit the broadside of a Lax, of a Whale Lord, whatever you want, but just misses, whiffs completely, and gets punished. That was brutal. That's a brutal way to go, but a valiant effort. Anyways, it was a pretty interesting set, especially from this Zap Cannon support. The paralysis is kind of nice. Dealing damage to water types like Starmie. I have the oddest feeling that Violet probably recycled the team at least once. I mean, once, not more than that. So, don't fix what ain't broke, I guess. Anyways, hope that you guys have enjoyed, and stay tuned for next time.